We continue now at the top of Daf Ayin Hey Amud Aleph in Mesechet Sanhedrin. This is Sanhedrin Daf 75a. On the previous summit, the Gemara asked whether Bnei Noach are commanded in the mitzvah of Kiddush Hashem, and the Gemara is in the middle of bringing a proof from Sefer Malachim. Naaman, who was the commander of the army of the king of Aram, he said to Elisha that he was forced to bow to the Avodah Zarah, so he said Hashem should forgive him for that. And Elisha responded, Lech l'shalom, go in peace. And the Gemara now continues and says, V'im Isa, now if it is true that a Ben Noach is warned on Kiddush Hashem, so lo leimale, so he shouldn't have said that to him. He shouldn't have said Lech l'shalom, go in peace, as if that was okay. That should have been a problem of a violation of Kiddush Hashem. It seems from here that there is no mitzvah of Kiddush Hashem when it comes to the Bnei Noach. And the Gemara continues and answers, Habetzina, this was really in private, that's why it was not an issue of Kiddush Hashem. And Habefarhesi, when we're talking about an issue of Kiddush Hashem, that's when it is in public. And Rashi explains, V'im Isa de Ben Noach muzar al Kedushas Hashem, if it's true that a Ben Noach is warned when it comes to the mitzvah of Kiddush Hashem, lo neim olei lech l'shalom, so then Elisha shouldn't have said to him, go in peace. Demashma dehodalo, that sounds like he's admitting to him that what he's doing is okay. And Rashi notes, Nehida lahochicho lo haya mitzuva dehochiach tochiach es ha-Meseches. Now granted, the mitzvah of hochacha doesn't apply, the mitzvah of rebuke, because that only applies to Mesechet, it only applies to a fellow Jew. V'lo ger toshav, it would not apply to a ger toshav. Miu odoye lidvar isur lo loduye, but he shouldn't say it's okay to do something that is asur. And the Gemara then answered B'tzina, that happened in private, that's why it wasn't an issue of Kiddush Hashem. Naaman B'tzina Hava, this incident with Naaman happened B'tzina in private. V'lohayu Yisrael B'veis Rimon, there were no Jews in Beis Rimon, Shum Mishtachav L'Hashem, that's where he was bowing. V'gabe Kedushas Hashem B'soch B'nei Yisrael, by the mitzvah of Kiddush Hashem, it says it has to be among B'nei Yisrael. V'afilu Nitztavu B'nei Noach, even if B'nei Noach were commanded in Kiddush Hashem, Lo Nitztavu L'kadsho B'soch HaKusim, they wouldn't be instructed, they wouldn't be commanded to be Mekadesh Hashem, to be Mekadesh Shem Shamayim among the non-Jews. Ela B'soch Yisrael, it would only be among the Jews, and that's why it wouldn't apply in this situation. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. Rav Yehuda says that Rav says, Ma'aseh ba'ademecha, there was an incident with a certain person, shenasan einov bi'isha achas, that he set his eyes upon a particular woman. He fell in love with a particular woman. Vehela libo tina, and his passion arose in his heart. Ubo v'shalu l'rofim, and he went and he asked the doctors, v'yamru, and they said, ein lo takana, there's no solution for this person, ad shetiboil, unless he has relations with this girl. Amru chachamim, so the chachamim said, yomos, he should die, v'al tivol lo, rather that she should have relations with him. And so the Gemara said, Talmud lefanav aruma, so let her at least stand in front of him naked. And again they said, Yomos, he should die, better that he dies, v'al Talmud lefanav aruma, that she should not stand in front of him naked. And so then they said to Saper imam be'achori hageder, well, let her speak with him from behind the fence. And they said to that, Yomos, he should die, rather, v'al tesaper imam be'achori hageder, he should die rather than that she should speak with him from behind the fence. And the Gemara continues, Pligi bar Rav Yaakov bar Ridi v'Rav Shmuel bar Nachmani. There's a machlokes between Rav Yaakov bar Ridi and Rav Shmuel bar Nachmani with regards to this incident. Chad Omar, one says, Eishes ish haisa, she was actually a married woman. V'chad Omar Pnuya haisa, the other one says she was an unmarried girl. The Gemara says, Bishlam alaman damar Eishes ish haisa. It's good according to the one who says that she was an Eishes ish, that she was married, Shapir, so then it makes sense that they would be so strict. But according to the one who says she was unmarried, so my kuli hai, why did they go so far that she can't do any of these things with him? She's not even married. And the Gemara continues and answers, Rav Papa says, Mishum Pagam Mishpacha. The reason is because it's a blemish to the family. Rashi says, Mishum Pagam Mishpacha Soisha. It's a blemish to the family of the woman. Shayuboshim Bedavar. They would be embarrassed if this is what happened with this particular girl, and so that's why it's not appropriate. And the Gemara continues with another answer. Ravacha Bred Ravika, Amar Ravacha, the son of Ravika, says, Kedei shaloyu benos Yisrael perutzos ba'arayos. It's in order that the benos Yisrael, they should not be perutzos in these kinds of arayos. Rashi says, Shaloyu benos Yisrael perutzos ba'arayos lamod b'fnei ha'anoshim, that we should have them standing in front of men, loses bohem eineim, to set their eyes upon them, v'yimsrum lahem labi, and to give them over for bia, for acts of relations. That's not appropriate. But the Gemara still continues and asks, V'linsva minsav, but why not just marry her? That would have been a solution, and that would have been totally appropriate. Rashi says, V'linsva minsav de enkan prutzos ba'arayas. That's not prutzos ba'arayas. That's not a situation of prutzos. Tekulo li'avden hachi v'linsva v'enkan avera la mitzvah. That's not considered an avera when you get married. On the contrary, that's considered to be a mitzvah. So why not just have that as a solution? And the Gemara says, no, lo meyasva daite. That actually would not have settled his mind. Rashi says, he actually would not have been healed by marrying her. And why is that? Kid Rabbi Yitzchak, it's like Rabbi Yitzchak said. The Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, because Rabbi Yitzchak says, Miyom Shechara Beis HaMikdash, from the day that the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, Nitala Tam Bia, the taste of the act of relations was taken, V'nitana La'ovrei Aver, and it was given over to those who commit the act of Bia, who commit that act of relations in sin. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk, Mayim genuvim yimtaku. It says that stolen waters are sweet. V'lechem starim yinam, and bread that is eaten in secret is pleasant. And Rashi explains, Miyom shechara Beis HaMikdash, from the day that the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, kashal hakoach midaigos rabos. There's a lot of worry. There's less strength. Vein ruach kama beish lios toiv liishto. There's not the same kind of spirit in a man to desire his wife. Lafikach nital tam bia. That's why that taste of bia was taken away. V'nitan la'ovrei avera was given to those who commit that act in sin. She Yetzer Hara tokfan umar b'tavasim, because they're the Yetzer Hara, it incites them and they have more desire. And Rashi continues, D'chsiv v'lechem starim yinam, like it's written in the pasuk in Mishlei, the bread that's eaten in secret is pleasant. Lishna ma'al yanakat, this is a euphemism, kimo ki malechem asher ochel, like the pasuk of ki malechem, where the word lechem, the word bread in the pasuk, is a reference to the wife. Hadran Aloch ben Sora Mora, we will return to you, Parak ben Sora Mora. This is the end of the 8th Parak of Mesechet Sanhedrin. If you're enjoying these videos and this channel, please like, share, and subscribe, and take a look at the description box below to see how you can support this channel. And we will now continue with the 9th Parak of Mesechet Sanhedrin. And the parak begins with the Mishnah, V'elu hein hanisrafin, the following are punished with sreifa, the death penalty by burning. Haboal isha uvita, if somebody has relations with a woman and her daughter, ubas kohen shazinser, let's say the daughter of a kohen commits adultery, in those cases the punishment is sreifa. Yesh bechlal isha ubita, now included in the prohibition of a woman and her daughter is the following: Bito, his daughter, ubas bito, the daughter of his daughter, ubas beno, and the daughter of his son, ubas ishto, and the daughter of his wife, ubas bita, and the daughter of her daughter, ubas benon, the daughter of her son. And also included is chamoso, his mother-in-law, ve'em chamoso, and the mother of his mother-in-law, ve'em chamav, and the mother of his father-in-law. And Rashi explains, Zeilohen hanisrafin haboal isha uvita. Again, these are the cases of nisrafin, those who are punished by burning, the death penalty of burning. Begamar mefarish la, the Gemara will explain this. Uvas kohen, and the daughter of a kohen, kolomar v'chein bas kohen shazin. So what it means to say is also the daughter of a kohen who commits adultery, he bisreifa. So she is punished with sreifa, the death penalty of burning. Avol boala, but the person who she commits the act of adultery with, lav bisreifu, so he's not punished with sreifa. It's just her, it's just the bas kohen. And then the Mishnah said, Yesh bechlal isha uvita, included in isha uvita, and it gave a list as bito, bas bito, etc. Kilomer, what the Mishnah means to say is as follows: Isha uvita ksivi behedya, a woman and her daughter, that's written explicitly in the psukim. Kidmefarish begemar, as the Gemara will explain. The high isha uvita, and when it talks about isha uvita, the woman and her daughter, hainu chamoso, that's actually a reference to his mother-in-law, because the woman that he's married to, his wife, is the daughter of his mother-in-law. So that's a woman and her daughter. The sreifa ksiva ban, it's written sreifa by her. Kidechsiv, like it's written in the pasuk. And the Mesoras Hashas changes this to V'isha sher yikach es isha ve'as ima. It says if a man takes a woman and her mother, so that's a reference to the mother-in-law, zima he, it says that's a zima, ba'esh yisrafu oso v'yasen, and they're going to be burned in fire, him and them. V'yesh bechlolal, and then so then the Mishnah is saying included in them. Kilomar minayu yalfinan, meaning to say from them we learn kulu hanach, we learn all these other cases in the Mishnah. B'gzeir shava, that's all learned through a gzeir shava. Kidel kamon bebraisa, as the brisa later on will explain. And Bito, so the first case that's included is Bito, his daughter, me'anusa, so that means to say his daughter from, let's say he rapes a woman and has a daughter. The lav basishto, that would be a situation of his daughter who's not the daughter of his wife. The nechayev alam mishum basishto, because if it was the daughter of his wife, he'd be chayev already for her because that's the daughter of his wife. To anusa lav ishtohi, because somebody that he rapes is not considered his wife, so that's how you can have his daughter that's not the daughter of his wife, because that's not his wife. And bas Bito vaspino, and then we also have the daughter of his daughter and the daughter of his son. Again, shahayu lo me'anusaso, these would all be his descendants from the woman that he raped. And then we have bas ishto, then we have the daughter of his wife, bein shehi bito. Now that would be true whether it's actually his daughter, bein shehi chorgaso, or let's say it's a situation where it's really his stepdaughter, meaning to say again, and this is the daughter of his wife, but not his daughter, that would be included as well. And the Gemara says, Habo'al isha shenasa bita lo katani. It doesn't say that the person has relations with the woman and he had married that woman's daughter. Elo habo'al isha uvita. Rather, the way it's phrased in the Mishnah is, he has relations with a woman and her daughter. And Rashi explains, Habo'al isha shenasa bita lo katani. It doesn't say that he has relations with a woman that he had married her daughter. Kilomer, what the Gemara means to say is as follows. Mechdi, let us see. The katani is safer from the fact that at the end of the Mishnah it says, yesh bechlal. It says these other cases that are included. Mechlal d'hai isha uvita. So that implies that whatever the Mishnah is talking about when it says isha uvita, b'hanach t'chsivan mayri, that must be some case that's actually written in the Torah. V'lav bi'ishto ubebas ishto kamar. It's not talking about his wife and the daughter of his wife. Ela b'chamoso. Rather, it's got to be talking about his mother-in-law. T'sreifa ksiva ba, because it does say sreifa by his mother-in-law. V'ha'aba'alo isha d'katani. And so then when it says haba'alo isha, he has relations with the woman, lav bi'ishto. So that can't be talking about his wife. Because if we're talking about mother-in-law, so it should say isha v'ima. So it should say he's having relations with his wife and her mother, which would be the mother-in-law. That's what it should have said. And if this Isha over here was talking about his mother-in-law, it should have said he had relations with a woman that he had married her daughter. That again would be a reference to his mother-in-law. Halo katani, but that's not what it says in the Mishnah. Rather, the language that's used in the Mishnah is he's having relations with the Isha, with this woman and her daughter. So that would imply that both the Isha and the Bita, they're both prohibited. And therefore we're not actually talking about his wife over here in this phrase. When it says in this phrase in the Mishnah, Habal Isha Uvita, it doesn't seem that we're talking about his wife, which would have been permitted, obviously, when he initially married his wife. So Uman Ninu, so who is it referring to, as the Gemara is about to say? Chamoso v'em chamoso. It must be that when the Mishnah is talking about these two women, they're both prohibited to him. We're talking about his mother-in-law and the mother of his mother-in-law. And this is what it's saying. Haba al eim achoso o al bita. What the Mishnah really means is if somebody has relations with the mother of his mother-in-law, or her daughter, the Hainu Chamosa, which would mean his mother-in-law, the Katani, and then it's saying Yesh Bechlal Ishovita Kulu Hanach, included in his mother-in-law and the mother of his mother-in-law are all of the following cases. Alma Hach Ishovita Ksivi B'Hadya. Again, you see that the Isha Ubita that's mentioned must be written explicitly in the pasuk, which would mean that his mother-in-law and the mother of his mother-in-law are both cases of Sreifa that are written explicitly in the pasuk. Again, back into the Gemara, Habal Isha Shenasa Bita Lo Katani doesn't say that he's having relations with a woman that he had married her daughter, in which case the two women that we are talking about again would be his wife and his mother-in-law. Ela Habal Isha Uvita. Rather, it's saying that he's having relations with a woman and her daughter. Mechlal de Tarvayo Lisura. That implies that both cases in the Mishnah of Isha Uvita are people that he's not allowed to marry. Uman Ninu, and who is it referring to? Chamoso v'em chamoso. It means that the Mishnah is referring to actually his mother-in-law and the mother of his mother-in-law, and both of these cases are Bisreifa. And again, both of these cases, it sounds like, are actually mentioned in the pasuk. V'katani, it says in the Mishnah, Yesh bechlal Isha Uvita. It says included in these cases are a whole list of other cases. Mechlal de Tarvayu Ksivi B'Hadya. That implies that both of these cases, meaning his mother-in-law and the mother of his mother-in-law, are written explicitly in the pasuk. And the Gemara, and V'hanach Midrasha Asi. And then the other cases in the Mishnah are learned out from Drasha. That's what seems to be going on in the Mishnah, says the Gemara. And so the Gemara now says, Hanicha li Abaya. This works out according to Abaya. D'yamar mashmo's dor shenika beinayu. Abaya says that in the Machlokas Tanaim that we're about to mention, they're just arguing about how to understand the psukim. So then you could say Masnis and Moni Rabbi Akiva. Our Mishnah is Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva happens to hold that both mother-in-law and the mother of his mother-in-law are included and written in the pasuk. Ela l'Rava, but according to Rava, D'yamar chamoso la'achar misa ika beinayu. He says that the Machlokas Tanaim is talking specifically about a case of being with his mother-in-law after his wife dies. So Masnis and Moni, so who's the author of our Mishnah? Who would be the author of our Mishnah that says both of these cases, his mother-in-law and the mother of his mother-in-law, are written in the pasuk? So Amar Lach Rava, so Rava will say to you, because Rava can't explain the line in that fashion, Amar Lach Rava Tani, Rava will say to you that actually the way you have to have the text in our Mishnah is Haba al Isha Shenosa Bita. That should be the text. He's having relations with a woman and he had already married her daughter, meaning according to Rava, the Mishnah is specifically talking about his mother-in-law. And Rashi explains, Hanicha li Abaya do Amar bepirkan gave pluksad Rabbi Shmuel v'Rabbi Akiva. Akiva. This all works according to Abaya, who's explaining again the machlokas that we're going to have between Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Akiva. That's the machlokas Tanoim. Mashmos Dorshanika Beinayo. Abaya says that they're just arguing how to understand the psukim. Umazik lemilse de Rabbi Akiva ksiva behedya em chamoso. And the point is that when Abaya explains this machlokas Tanoim, he's going to say that according to Rabbi Akiva, the mother of his mother-in-law is mentioned in the psukim. So Masnis and Money Rabbi Akiva, then you could say that our Mishnah is Rabbi Akiva. Ela l'Rava d'Yamar bein Rabbi Yishmael bein Rabbi Akiva lo ksiva ela bechamoso shebol ela achar misas ishto pligi. According to Rava, who says whether according to Rabbi Yishmael or whether according to Rabbi Akiva, that's not written. The mother of his mother-in-law is not written in the psukim, and rather the machlokas between them is by his mother-in-law, where after his wife dies, he has relations with his mother-in-law. Pligi, that's what there's a machlokas tanoim about. So Masnis and Money. So who's going to be the author of our Mishnah? And the Gemara said, Amar lach Rava. Rava will say to you, Tani al isha shenasa bita. Really, the way you should learn the Mishnah is the woman that he had married her daughter, Dahainu chamoso. That's a reference to his mother-in-law. Dechsiva behedya. It's written explicitly as isha Dahainu ishto v'as ima. That refers to his wife and her mother, Dahainu chamoso. Again, which is his mother-in-law. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, Yesh bechlal isha uvita, included among a wife and her daughter is chamoso v'em chamav. So the Mishnah had a whole list of cases, and at the end of the list, of cases was chamoso, his mother-in-law, em chamoso, the mother of his mother-in-law, v'em chamav, and the mother of his father-in-law. And so the Gemara now says li Abaya. Now, according to Abaya, that's Abaya that we just said above. According to Abaya, isha uvita, the main cases that are mentioned in the psukim are actually his mother-in-law and the mother of his mother-in-law. And now we're also saying that his mother-in-law and the mother of his mother-in-law are included as drushas. They're like extensions of the primary cases, which wouldn't make any sense. And so the Gemara says, Li Abaya, according to Abaya, Aidi de kaboy lemisna aim chamav. Since we're already going to say that the mother of his father-in-law is included, that's a case that's included by drasha. So Tani nami chamoso veim chamoso. So the Mishnah just mentioned his mother-in-law and the mother of his mother-in-law, but that's not exactly accurate because again, those are the primary cases. Those are the first cases that are mentioned in the Mishnah. And l'Rava, now according to Rava, that first line in the Mishnah of Isha Uvita actually shouldn't say Isha Uvita, it should be Isha Shenasa Bita, it's referring to the mother-in-law. So we still have a question at the end of the Mishnah, why does it mention mother-in-law? Aidi de kaboy lemisna aim chamav, v'aim chamoso, since it's mentioning the mother of his father-in-law and the mother of his mother-in-law, Tani nami chamoso. So it also says chamoso, it also says his mother-in-law. Again, that really should not be at the end of the Mishnah. And Rashi explains, Yesh bechlal ishuvita katani nami chamosa. We have here mother-in-law. Umilsa detmiya. That doesn't make any sense. Dahu laf midrasha asav katani bahadayu. That's not learned from the drasha, and that's among this list of things that are in the drasha. And liabaya damar chamoso v'ima ksivan behedya. So according to Abaya, like we just said, where his mother-in-law and the mother of his mother-in-law are written explicitly in the psukim, aidi detana bahai klola aim chamav. So since we're already including here the mother of his father-in-law, the asim midrasha that is from a drasha, nakat agavriya to chamoso v'im chamoso. So the Mishnah mentions chamoso and aim chamoso, which really should not be mentioned, but it's mentioned anyhow. And in Rava also you have to say something along those lines with regards to his mother-in-law. And the Gemara continues, Mili, from where do we know all of this, meaning all of these various cases? The Tanu Rabbanon, because the rabbis taught in the following brisa. It says that a person, he takes a woman and her mother. Now I only know we're talking about a woman and her mother. Bas Isha, how do we know? The daughter of a woman, Ubas Bita, and the daughter of her daughter, Ubas Bina, and the daughter of her son. Minayin, from where do we know that? Nemar Kan Zima, it says over here the word Zima. V'nemar Lahalan Zima, and it says further on the word Zima. Malahalan, just like over there, Bito, Vas Bina, it's referring to her daughter, and the daughter of her daughter, and the daughter of her son. Afkan, Bita, Uvas Bina. So too over here, we're referring to her daughter, and the daughter of her daughter, and the daughter of her son. All of this will be explained. Minayin lazos is a charim kenekevas. Now, how do we know to treat the males like the females? Nemar kan zima, it says over here the word zima. V'nemar lahalan zima, and it says further on the word zima. Malahalan zacharim kenekevos, just like over there, the males are like the females. Afkan zacharim kenekevos. So too over here, the males are like the females. Again, this will also be explained. And finally, minayin lasos lamata kilamala. How do we know to treat those below like those above? Will also be explained. Nemar kan zima, it says over here the word zima. V'nemar lahalan zima, it says further on the word zima. Malahalan lamata kilamala, just like over there, below is like above. Afkan lamata kilamala, so too over here, below is like above. Umakan lamala kilamata, and just like over here, above is like below. Aflahalan lamala kilamata, so too further on, above is like below. And before we take a look at Rashi, we'll take a look at the full psukim. It says, V'isha asher yikach es isha v'yes ima. It says a man takes a woman and her mother. We're going to say that's a reference to his mother-in-law. That's his wife's mother. Zima hi, so that's considered zima. That's lewdness. Ba'esh yisrafu oso v'yes hen. They're going to both be burned in fire, him and them. V'lo zima b'sochachem. There shouldn't be this zima, this lewdness among you. And the other pasuk is ervas isha uvita lo sagali. This is a pasuk of azhara, of warning. A person shouldn't be with a woman and her daughter. As bas bina, then it mentions the daughter of her son. V'as bas bita, and the daughter of her daughter. Lo sikach legalos ervasa shara heina zima. He uses the word zima over here as well. And Rashi explains, going on the brisa, ein li ela isha v'ima. I only know the woman and her mother. Dahainu chamosu. Again, that refers to his mother-in-law, as we just said. Namar kan b'sreifa. It says over here by the punishment of sreifa zima he. It says the word zima, as we said. V'namar biazharas bito vas bina. And then by the warning, talking about her daughter, the daughter of her daughter, the daughter of her son, it says shara heina zima hi. It uses the word zima. So afkan le'inyan onesh sreifa. So we apply it as follows. When it comes to the punishment of sreifa, where really we only mention mother-in-law, but we say bita uvas bina, her daughter, the daughter of her daughter, and the daughter of her son, b'hai dina d'hai kra. That also is going to apply. The punishment of sreifa will apply there as well. And Rashi continues, Minayin lasos zecharim kenekevos. From where do we know that males are like females? Lakaman mefarish. This will be explained later on. And Minayin lasos lamata kilamala lakaman nami mefarish. How do we know that below should be treated like above? That also will be explained later on. Umakan lamala kilamata af lahalon lamala kilamata lakaman mefarish. This also will be explained later on. Just like over here, above is like below, so too over there, above is like below. And the Gemara continues, Amar Mar, the master said, the Brisa just above said, Minayin lasos zecharim kenekevos. It said, from where do we know that we treat the males like the females? Mai zecharim kenekevos. What does the Brisa mean when it says the males are like the females? Ilema bas bina kevas bita. If you're going to say what it means is that the daughter of her son is treated like the daughter of her daughter, bahade hadade ka'asim, but those are actually learned out together. So the Gemara instead says, Ella rather, Aim chamav keim achoso. What the Brisa might mean is, the mother of his father-in-law is treated like the mother of his mother-in-law. But the Gemara says to that also it's problematic. Hashta aim chamoso lo kamalan. We haven't even firmly established the mother of his mother-in-law. Aim chamav mahadra Allah, and yet we're talking now about the mother of his father-in-law. And Rashi explains, Bahade Hadadi Asyan, those are actually learned out together, meaning Bas Bina, let's say you have a woman, so you have the daughter of her son and the daughter of her daughter, that's all the same. Haravinu letarvayu b'gzeira shave, the Asya Zima Zima, those are actually both learned out of that Gzeira shave of Zima Zima, meaning when we have that Gzeira shave of Zima Zima, so it said, Ma'alahalan, the exact language of the Brisa was, Ma'alahalan bita uvas bita ubas bina, just like over there, in that pasuk where it says Zima, it's talking about her daughter, the daughter of her daughter and the daughter of her son, Afkan bito vas bito bas bina. So you already have bas bina. It's all learned out from zima zima. So that can't be what it's talking about when it says minayin lasos zecharim kenekevos. We already learned that out from the Gzeira shava of zima zima. And so Rashi continues, then the Gemara said, Ela aim chamav came chamoso. Maybe what the Brisa means is the mother of his father-in-law is like the mother of his mother-in-law. But the Gemara then asked, Hashta now, aim chamoso akati lo kamalon. When it comes to the mother of his mother-in-law, it's not so clear. Adayin lo hemida al burya b'sreifa min haTorah. We still haven't established a source from the Torah of sreifa for the mother of his mother-in-law. To hai tana lo formiyat shaminan lei, to hai isha dekra hainu ishto. Because according to the Tana of this Brisa, right now, it seems that what does it mean isha? Isha, the Isha that we're talking about in the pasuk is Ishto, is his wife. So therefore, we're just talking about mother-in-law. We're not talking about the mother of his mother-in-law. And even according to the one who says the mother of his mother-in-law is written in the pasuk, but lavmi mashmausa des Isha v'ima nafkale. That's not coming from the words in the pasuk which say Isha v'ima, which really refers to his wife and her mother. Elami mashmausa de oso v'yashen. That actually comes from the part of the pasuk which says oso v'yashen, and so we learn out the mother of his mother-in-law. But we haven't yet established that in this brisa. So aim chamav kamahader Allah. So now we're coming along and talking about the mother of his father-in-law. Mechazra lelo havila Torahs aim chamos. We're trying to say that the mother of his father-in-law is like the mother of his mother-in-law. To come our zecharim kenekevos, that we're saying males are like females. Hakati lo ashminan tana aim chamos. The Tana still hasn't taught aim chamos, so it's too early to be talking about the mother of his father-in-law if you haven't really established the mother of his mother-in-law. And we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Ayin Hey Amid Beis.